Hello, everyone. Welcome to VR Verdict, episode 74. It's our weekly podcast where we like to share VR with you. I am PJ.
I'm Wookie. I'm Ben.
Ben's here today to talk to us about VR treadmills.
Yes.
For those listening, we'll have a link in the show notes to a very in-depth, I think it's an amazing video that you've done to show the differences. So
Thank you.
if you're listening, check that out. This is your second time joining us, man. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Anytime.
It was very nice with you the first time where we talked about our game. And we had a little bit of a side conversation about treadmill starting. And I was working on the video at this time. And I didn't want to spoil that I'm working on a video about treadmills, so I tried to avoid the topic. And I remember that you are interested, and you have a friend or it was Wookie, who said that you have a friend who bought a Cat C, if I remember right, or ordered one. I don't remember, and I would have loved to get deeper into the topic of VR treadmills, but I wanted to get the video out first.
Sure.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I love treadmills. For people who don't know, I started working in VR full time 2014 with my own studio company, whatever. And I saw the Omni Kickstarter, the Cybers Kickstarter, and I thought that's a great way to move in VR, because at that time, I feel really old talking like this, but there was no room scale VR, and it was not obvious that Oculus and Vive and HTC would come out with room scale devices 2 years later. So we had the DevKit 1 and DevKit 2, but no way to really move around in VR. So treadmills were really promising to solve the problem. And so I got into that topic because VR, I love virtual reality. And so I started trying to get involved in the Kickstarters and get the Omni, get the virtualizer. And so it worked kind of, and our first VR game, the infamous VR shooter guns, it's on Steam, but
Nice.
it was made for VR arcades, for the VR arcade market, with the use of treadmills. So people who don't know what a treadmill is, just a short summary. It's a device where you are strapped into or onto, and you can walk on the spot like on a treadmill in a fitness studio, like in a gym. Yes, and that solves one problem, because if you walk in room scale VR with HTC Vive or Oculus Quest, you always can just move a little bit, a few meters, and then there comes the warning. Caution, you are in VR. In the real world, there's a wall. Don't run against the wall. So you get out of virtual reality, you get out of your immersion, you get out of your game, of your simulation, and the whole thing breaks down. And that's a really a pity, because all we want in VR is to forget about the real world. So what happened is that we have now a lot of games that are kind of stationary, like Beat Saber, like a Pistol Whip, and you don't move around a lot because we have a restriction as game designers, as developers, a restriction in the way of input. And You can use stick locomotion, of course, but it comes with other problems. If you use stick locomotion, you have to think with your brain what you usually do in the real world completely naturally. You move your legs. You want to go there. You don't think about thumbstick. You don't think about, do I have to move my head to go where I want to go? Do I have to move my controller or point my controller in the direction of movement? Because there are, with stick locomotion, there are many different ways to implement it. So you can have sorry. So you can have just the the joystick, the stick on your controller, press forward, and then you move forwards, and then you have the problem to solve. In what direction do you want to move? So you can either move your hand into the, or point your hand into the direction you want to move, or you look into the direction you want to move. And both is quite unnaturally. You get used to it, of course, but it's not intuitive. It's not like walking in real life. And of course, there are many different variations how you can implement that. And you can move the joystick on your controller to the left and the right, and so on. And it all works kind of, but you are not moving intuitively. So if you want to make a shooter where you have enemies all around you and you need to take cover, you need to run fast, you always have the problem now in the games now that there is some sort of trade-off between aiming and moving that you don't have in the real world. If you hold a pistol, for example, in the real world, you can point into this direction and shoot, and run into this direction or run into that direction. That kind of can work right now in VR games with stick locomotion, but you cannot do that physically with your legs. You cannot walk or run for 10 meters, 20 meters, or even longer, because there's your wall, there's your room, and it's too small.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where the treadmills come into play, because you can walk and run on the spot for miles and miles and totally forget that you are in a real physical constrained room, like your living room or the room in a VR arcade or in a shopping mall or wherever the treadmill is standing. So you have a much better sense of immersion because you do not get that warning all the time. Chaperone, here's your room, your real room, your real wall, and you don't get that warning all the time. So you have a much longer time that you are immersed in the VR world. So you get deeper to the,
Yeah.
to
And I
phrase it
assume,
that.
like,
Yes.
you also, if you have a small area for VR, which a lot of people do, certain models of the treadmill help solve that because you're only taking up so much space.
Yes, yes,
Cool.
exactly. If you have a small room, and you're right, that's one of the things that the devices differ from each other. The space you need to place them, yeah, and but you can turn any small room into a wide open area with these devices.
Yeah.
So you can put that in a small tiny room, and you can run a marathon in that room, and you will not be reminded that you are in a small tiny room because you have no restriction through a chaperone.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's really great because you can just hide behind the table here, and then you can jump up and run over there and take cover again. That's not possible in any VR game right now, at home at least. Yeah, you can do that in the big setups in VR arcades where they have a whole warehouse that's tracked with OptiTrack cameras and stuff. That's possible, of course, but not in a not yeah. You need a lot of space.
Yeah.
For these solutions too, and with these solutions you totally you solve the problem. How much space do I need for my VR simulation? And those devices say you need 2 by 2 meters, and then you can walk around the whole planet Earth from
Yeah, that's crazy.
all around without any restriction. So yeah, and you walk naturally. You can just get in and start walking. In theory, that's what I what I found out when I tried these 3 devices over the years. I have worked with the virtualizer, with the predecessor of this model, with the Omni, with the Catwalk Mini. And they're all treadmills, and from the outside they all look like you get in and you just start to walk, but that's not the case. So like the Oculus Quest and the Valve Index and the Vive Pro, there are many differences. They're all VR headsets, but they're all very different, and it's the same with these devices. So, well, and last summer, I happened to have all 3 devices in our office at the same time. That never happened before, and I decided to just really, because I love treadmills and I think they have a great future. Maybe not in the home market, but in location-based entertainment, of course, and simulations. And I just wanted to. There's always, yeah, that device is better than the other. But I who have worked with these devices, I have programmed for these devices. I've made games or simulations for clients with these devices. And I just saw that there's a lot of false assumptions on the internet, and also a lot of marketing from all of the manufacturers. And I just wanted to get out a few technical things that you should know when you really want to buy a treadmill. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Well, if you want to, we can go over there and you can
Yes.
describe the
Yes.
different ones to us. And
Yes. So of course,
let
made,
me move my camera so I can get a good shot of this really buff guy on all these treadmills. 1 second.
His hands.
doesn't sound that doesn't look very healthy. Sound. It's late here. It's
All right.
all right. Good to go.
You guys
So-
come up if you want. It's fine.
Yeah, come close. So, these are all 3 devices in the video. I don't have a laser pointer, do I?
No.
Okay. So, this is the Virtuix Omni. This in the middle is a Cyberus Virtualizer Elite 2. It's the newest model. And this is a Catwalk Mini. So all these devices are actually quite expensive, and not for home users, I would say. So I hope someday someone will come up with a cheap alternative for real personal use that you can put home. I know Omni is working, Virtuix, the manufacturer of Omni, is working on such a device, the Omni One, and CAT is working on such a device, the Catwalk C. And that's for consumers, I think. So I think the Catwalk C can be bought right now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the price. So these three devices are for arcades or businesses who do simulations. I know that some of these devices are used in military contexts for training, for example. And so as I said, I worked with all these devices. I programmed these devices, and there are differences how they work and how the sensor systems work. And I just wanted to get out some information about these devices and what's important about them. Because VR headsets, we all know its resolution, its refresh rate, its comfort, how long can you wear the headset. And with treadmills, I think only few people have actually used a treadmill for more than a few minutes on a trade show, for example. Yes. So, so I thought I can make a cool video. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it took me almost half a year to find the time to get all to cut the video, to record the voice and all this. And I really underestimated the work that I had to put in after the recordings of the video.
And this was just all you doing it because you wanted to. You're not getting reimbursed or anything from these companies, I assume, are you?
No, I'm not getting reimbursed. And I had the help of my team. We are 3 people. It's Doris and Maggie. And we had a weekend. So we worked Friday till Sunday night to get all the shots, to record everything I wanted to show. And it was 3 long days. So you also notice it. I think we started with the virtualizer, then the Omni, and recorded the catwalk last. And you see it on the curtains that it's night when we film the catwalk.
And it was just you on the treadmill, so you're probably exhausted by the end of the weekend.
Yes, I need a lot of breaks because I had prepared very well a script, what to film and what I want to show, and all the devices. I had all the shots in my head, and but I had to go in, and we had to always record a few scenes, few takes of the same scene, so that we can use at least one in the video. So I don't know how many miles I walked and ran at the weekend. More than usually, much more. Yeah, well, of course, all the technical stuff, go on YouTube, watch the video. I just get into a few things that I think is important, and my intention was to show okay, what's it's an input device for VR, like a controller. So what's the purpose? The purpose is for you to walk naturally, to have an intuitive input device for your feet to move around. That's the purpose of these devices. So my goal was to check if all of these devices serve this purpose, if they do it well, and compare them to each other. So spoiler alert, they all work kind of. One works better than the others, one doesn't work as well as the other two, and I hope I give really technical reasons for my ratings. So if you haven't seen the video, it's the Catwalk C is very difficult to walk in because they have a very rough surface on the bottom, and they have overshoes with hard plastic knobs. So you have a lot of friction when you walk, and you need a lot of force to overcome this friction. And that's really exhausting to walk in if you want to walk longer. So that's one of the reasons why I personally don't like to use the Catwalk Mini so much. I haven't tried the Catwalk C yet. I think they improve all the time. And I also read an article that they will bring an improved version of the Catwalk Mini, the Catwalk Mini S, I think. They just announced it a few days ago. And interestingly enough, they posted on the website that they will fix a lot of issues that I mentioned in my video. So I hope they saw it and they didn't take it as offense, but as
Right.
As a make it better, please. We want these devices. We want them working. We want to have fun in them. We want to use them. So I'm really glad that I have found that announcement on the website, and I'm really curious. I hope I can try that new version someday.
Well, like you said, these aren't in a lot of homes, obviously, so I'm sure any feedback they can get, especially as detailed as you had,
Yes.
I think that's probably huge help.
Yes, I hope so. That I think is really great from them. Yes, I really think they saw the video and they have a list of things that I said in my video are not so good, and they addressed that in their announcement. So I hope it was me. It would make me feel a bit proud.
Yeah.
If I can improve the treadmill market. The Omni is a gaming device, and it too has a plastic bowl, and it's a bowl shape. The base plate here is a bowl shape, and the Catwalk Mini also has a bowl shape as base where you walk on. So the idea behind that is that you have less friction because your feet slide back and they slide back on a inclined surface. So the base plate of the Catwalk is too rough. You have too much resistance, and the base plate of the Omni is better, and they also have different shoes. So it's not plastic on plastic, but it's some kind of special shoe sole, but it's much easier to walk in the Omni. But it's also you also need force to walk forwards. It's not like you just stand there and walk and you don't feel resistance, but you also feel resistance if you walk. So that's one thing that's better in the Omni. And the virtualizer is the only device that has a completely flat base plate, and it's really slippery. and all you have to do is put on fabric overshoe over your normal flat shoes, and then you can use the device. So that makes it as easy to get into as into the Catwalk Mini. Yes, because you just take some overshoe, pull it over your normal flat shoes, and then you can use the devices. Whereas on the All-New you have to wear special shoes. So, but
So between the like concave and the flat, and
Yeah.
everything else aside, just the shape of it, what do you think is easier? Because it seems like you'd almost like pointing your toe up, walking uphill on the concave ones.
yes, that's exactly the problem. In what you say, you walk up a hill or walk up a steep surface, inclined surface, and you do that with every step. So every step, your foot has to be angled. I don't know. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yep.
So yeah. So
Don't you face the opposite problem on the flat one, where your foot would like be overextended when you're stepping because your back foot would be propelling your waist forward, so your front foot would have less space to travel. But if you don't have that, does it feel weird on the flat one, or is it the preferred method?
No, it's a preferred method because if you walk on normal ground, the normal ground is usually flat too. So it's
You're not overextending.
a natural ground. So what this device has is an active system in the base plate. So it tilts slightly while you walk, so that the friction even gets reduced more. Yes, and so you walk an inclined surface too, but it is a flat inclined surface and not a bowl-shaped inclined surface. Do you get me?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't feel like you're walking uphill because it's a flat surface. It's in the brain. So if you make a step in the Omni, it has biggest bowl shape. You always feel that you are on a bowl. The Catwalk Mini has a much lighter bowl shape, so you don't really feel that much. But as I said, they have that friction problem. It's too rough. And here you don't have any bowl shape, so your feet will always be always placed on a flat surface. So it's like walking on normal ground, and you just don't notice it. And the active system in the base plate also tilts, so that you walk uphill, but it's just a little bit, so you don't really notice it. And it also reduces the amount of friction because gravity pulls you back, and it makes it a lot easier to walk. Yes. If you have the chance to walk on this device at one point in time, you can disable the active system and try the difference between the slight tilt and the complete flat surface, and you will notice that you need more force to walk forwards if it's completely flat and doesn't tilt. So.
Sure.
The tilting negates my worry. So.
Diamond, Madman, you any questions so far, or any?
Would you guys pay to put one of these in your house if you play a lot of shooters or something?
I
I've
was
been
super-
tempted to look into them, but I don't think I would be able to afford it, and probably don't even have the space for one right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it would add enough to really be worth it currently.
Yes,
It might be the
that's-
only thing you ever do again. Like, it's worth it. You're just stuck. Just kidding.
I have a question about
Yes.
I would imagine that being able to like walk naturally would help mitigate motion sickness. Is that the case? Or do you know?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, of course. Yes.
That's
If
pretty
done
neat.
right. Yes.
Because there's plenty of times in, I don't remember which game I'm thinking of. It's probably Pavlov, but like where your direction's tied to one of your controllers. So you're walking in whatever direction. You're holding forward on the stick and you turn, you'll just start walking that way. But if I'm reloading a gun or doing anything or holding a gun down, I start walking backwards or
Yeah.
stop walking while I'm trying to run away from, PJ or anybody else shooting at me. I just like
Yes.
hold in I think it's Pavlov. You have to hold down the gun to run. You've got to kind of point it down so you can't run and gun as much. And then I start walking the wrong way or something like that. I don't remember which game that is, but it drives me nuts. So I was always kind of wanted one of those just to try it out because even in games PJ and I've played is it Left 4 Dead? No. Dead and Buried or VR shooter games. And the first Dead and Buried has a saloon shootout, but it's room scale. And I didn't even really know that at the time because it was one of the first games we tried. And PJ must have had a larger room. He's sitting there hiding behind stuff on the left, the right, and I had 3 feet of space, like a meter.
Yeah.
And I was like rolling off the walls, like there's a barrel right there in your brain that you want to hide behind, but my wall is blocking me from the barrel that I don't see, and I'm just bouncing off the walls, and he's just getting headshots. And I was like, I hate this, but it was, just because I didn't have a big enough room.
Yeah,
So-
yes, of course. That's exactly the problem that I talked about at the start. Yes, you have a limited amount of space, and you just cannot program around it. You are restricted physically, and you want to make a jump to the right. I have to check if there's something in my room. Yes, there's a wall.
I don't know how I haven't broken
you
a
just-
controller or anything yet.
Yes,
Like,
you just can't jump here because you will jump against the wall. So you have that restriction. And okay, you can't make a jump to the right in any of these devices. We have to be fair. But they get close to the. I want to. I see that barrel like 5 meters away, and I just want to run like hell and take cover behind it and shoot in that direction.
yeah,
Yes.
if
Yes.
anybody's listening that doesn't really know that in VR, maybe you have some listeners that just haven't bought any VR headset, but like, it doesn't matter how much you know that that's fake, that the barrel you want to hide behind or the soccer ball in, crap, what's that? The game that has all this stuff in, the gymnasium game. I can't remember any names anymore. Anyway, you jump in to get your soccer ball. I've smashed into my angled ceiling so much, but like, you don't understand. Like, it doesn't matter how much you know that that's fake and that you have a wall there. There's going to be an instant where you try to duck, and you're going to bounce off a wall. People are putting their hands through TVs, which is hilarious, but it's expensive. So, a big problem.
Rec room
Yes.
is what you're thinking.
Yep, rec room. So we were playing soccer in rec room, which is a blast. I don't know how much fun I was going to have, but there's a giant soccer ball, and you want to keep it from going in the goal. But, poor Mr. Wookie here has angled ceilings in my game room, and I just, like, crumpled into the wall like a crash test dummy. Like, bam! Thought I broke myself. I'm like, I guess I'm okay. I didn't I didn't block the goal, but...
I can't wait for the day that we can do the time warp again in VR. I actually do
Nice.
have a question about the treadmills here. Do any of these allow for crouching easily? Because they all look pretty stiff.
Yeah.
That was good.
Honestly.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So there are a few problems with crouching. So the Omni is fixed in height. So you cannot move down. You cannot crouch in the Omni. It doesn't work. Simple as that. You can only stand. The virtualizer, I have no picture. You can see it in the video, of course. The virtualizer has 2 modes. You can lock the height. It's safer to use. but you can also unlock it, and you can crouch down, you can get on your knees, and that works. But crouched walking is a bit difficult. It works, but you have to practice it. It's not easy. But it works. With a cat, you can sort of crouch, because in theory, the cat has a mechanism here that lets you move up and down. So this belt system can move up and down. But if you move up, there's that little handle here that locks in the other position. So you cannot move down. So you can only move up. And this belt system is also mounted on a spring. So you can pull it down a bit, like the length of a hand. So you can crouch a little bit, but not as much as in the virtualizer. So you can kind of crouch in all devices except the Omni.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably a pretty big deal breaker for a lot of people, because most of the people who look at treadmills and stuff are people who are like playing competitive VR shooters and stuff like that. And you kind of need to be able to hide and duck around corners and stuff. And if you can't do that, then what's really the benefit that you're getting here?
Yes,
You can
exactly.
Run
So,
really fast and dodge all the bullets.
So if you use the Omni for such a game, you would have to, as a developer, you'd have to add an option to crouch per button, so that you have the button and the crouch. So, yeah, kind of lame. With the virtualizer, you can get down. You have to practice to crouch, move forward, but you can get down. You can duck. You can duck into cover. And with the cut, you can kind of get behind higher covers, but not as far down as with the virtualizer. So with the cat, you too should have a game that supports a button that lets you crouch. So yeah, that's one of the things that you think works in all of these devices, but it doesn't. They just don't support crouching very well.
I'm gonna need one that lets me do like a running dive prone cover, like a slip
Yeah.
and slide, just run and just Superman it and land on my stomach.
That
Break
would
a
be
rib.
great. I got an email from company from, I don't know, Europe. Let's call it Europe, and they're called Silver Cord, if I remember right. And they are working on a kind of treadmill that, how to describe? You just have a thing around your hips, and they have videos where they go swimming in water because you can dive like that and fly in the air. So I didn't have time to check it out more, and of course I want to try these devices because all the videos of these devices look cool, but then you have them and you walk in them and you find out, oh, this and that, and so yeah, but I'm really curious if they make that work, that would really be cool. Yeah, because what you can do in these devices, for example, is lay down on the ground.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work. It's like crouching. You would need a button if you play Pavlov, for example, and you want to. Does Pavlov support it? Prone?
Doesn't look like it. You're prone when you see somebody do it, but your headset's
Yeah.
on the ground. You can do it.
Okay, but
He does
there's
it all the time.
what's the other game? I think they support it. The other Pavlov.
You have a contractor or
That-
something, maybe.
No, That one, other one we played. I'm so bad
Yes.
with names.
Exactly.
Onward or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I
Look
think
at
Onward
me.
supports prone. Hey, 100 points. Uh, and I think they support it, but yeah, not possible right now with any of these devices.
Yeah, it's tough.
But alone to be able to walk and run is a great deal. So, but you said you asked about motion sickness, and I also covered this, and
Teleport.
this is now one of the technical parts of the video, where I recorded me walking in the room and at the same time walking in the devices. And then, just let me get closer without getting into my wall. And then I measured my step length and compared it to the measured step length in the videos, in the recordings. So as you can see here, the red bar is my natural movement, my natural step. And then from the video taken measurements and put them into the diagrams. So as you can see, the Catwalk Mini, I have to make very small steps to get forward. That's for different reasons. And one reason that I didn't mention yet is that you what's actually perceived as an advantage, that you don't have that ring around your hip, can also be a disadvantage because that Justin, because you have that big thing in your back, and it stiffens your back and your hips. So when you walk, you move your hips a bit and stuff, and the catwalk is a bit restricting. So it also depends on the type of person. Yeah, how long are your legs? How tall are you? Of course.
Sure.
Yes, that's my measurements. So
Yeah.
another person, yes.
How tall are you, by the way? Just for like a comparison.
Don't ask me in feet. 183 centimeters. That's
It's about 5'10" or 11, so
yeah, something like that. And so I think. Hello?
he's in the wall. Well,
I think he
he's-
might have hit his power button.
Might have. For the listeners, what he's talking about is he's measuring his own steps with the allowable or his average steps in the devices. And it's kind of like, I guess if you were trying to keep pace with a short, like a person with 2/3 of your height, like trying to match their left and right steps
Yeah.
and their speed. And it's really awkward. Like, 'cause I'm a kind of a tall person too. I'm 6 foot. So if I'm trying to take smaller steps to get like a step count up for like a step counter challenge, something like that, it is really awkward. So I think that flat panel is probably the only one that really would be worth it, but it's the biggest one, and it's probably, you know, I'd have to sell a car.
Has anyone here tried cyber shoes? I'm just curious. Because I have not.
No, have you? You haven't?
No.
Hi.
It's bad.
Welcome back.
I have no idea what happened.
You just kind of was breakdancing into the wall and then you disappeared. So it was pretty cool.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I heard you talking for a few more seconds, and then the limit froze,
happens.
and well, I had to restart the app and log back in. Yeah. I think yes, step length. So you can see here the Omni gets very close to the natural steps, but you have the inclined, the bowl shape, and you always have to. Well, that's your leg, and that's your foot. And in the Omni, your foot always is like that a bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
It-
and it can hurt your ankles. Yes.
Wear out the front of your shins too, probably.
Yes. So yeah, but it's all okay. And the virtualizer is really very intuitive to walk in, and you can almost walk like on normal ground in that device.
With-
So,
With the visual we got
Right.
too, it's actually more uniform because the other ones you can kind of see the little
yes,
jagged thing where like some steps are wildly longer than others, and the one with the flat base is pretty close to the same step length the whole time.
yes, exactly. I think they put a lot of work into that, and it shows in the measurements. Yeah.
Do you think if that had just a little bigger base, that would just cure that whole problem? Or would that cause other things?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm kind of tall. Of course, there are people with longer legs than me, but the base plate is big enough to make big steps too. And in the video, you can see me run and jump in that device, so without a problem. So I don't think it would improve this measurement.
Okay.
Just
How long
to
would
make it bigger. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, how long would it take you to actually trust to be able to jump in that thing with the headset on and in the middle of a game? Because I'd be kind of like, I'm airborne and not knowing if my brain would be thinking, did I screw that vertical pole into the ceiling tight enough? Is everything really that good? Because I'm gonna topple over and fall out a window or something.
Yes, that's one of the problems of the virtualizer. That you cannot. I try to jump really high, and it here's a block, so that the pole and that stuff here doesn't come out on the top. And so if you jump really high, you hit against that block. So
Gotcha. It's kind of a
you
jarring.
cannot jump as high as you could, but you can jump.
Is it sturdy enough for light jumping though? Like if you just kind of
Yeah.
hop or
Yeah. All devices are really solid built, and of course, it's incredible how much force and energy you have when you walk and run. So all these devices have parts that are moving a bit when you are walking and running, especially jumping, but they're all really solid. So I also try to lean on the devices with my legs up and see if they hold. And all devices hold completely. Only the catwalk. I didn't trust the fabric. I didn't want to try and ruin the fabric. So it should hold, of course, but I needed a working device for my video.
Sure.
I didn't want to rip it apart. So it should hold, but I never tried it because replacement, shipping from China is a problem right now.
Yep.
Another 6 months tacked onto your video time. That's all.
Yeah.
When you disappeared, I asked if anyone had ever used cyber shoes because I haven't. I'm not sure if you have, but
No, I haven't either.
I'm just curious the difference because that's a whole different ball game, kind of though.
It's an input device for walking too, but you have to sit
Yeah.
and you just move your lower legs. So you can try that at home. Just sit on a chair and do that for 10 minutes or so. And I'm sorry. I think I dropped out again.
You're still here a little bit.
A little choppy.
Yeah, I'm really, really choking. So I don't
Yep.
see you, but you hear me. Okay.
Yep, you're
Right?
speaking fine. Yeah,
Okay.
you're just
That's
your
funny
visuals are
because
choppy.
my view is totally frozen. Yeah. So you move your feet, but not your legs. So it's I think it kind of works. I never tried it, but it's not natural movement.
Yeah.
Not walking.
I don't think it'd do anything to help me get into my bathing suit every summer.
Just wear your knees out.
Yeah. I have no idea where I'm standing. I'll just continue talking.
That'll work.
Do you have any questions? So
How
What's the-
adjustable are they, like for different people's heights and like for children? I mean, how customizable is the sizing?
yeah, you can change the height of all devices. So you can in all devices everybody. You can change the height of the Omni, but once you changed it, you can't change it again. So, like in real time, yes, you put it at the height of your hips so that you can rotate in the device, but then the height is fixed. Yes, but you can adjust the height, of course. So you can have kids use the Omni, and you can have tall people use the Omni. Both works. The virtualizer, of course, it's very easy to adjust the height, and you can lock it for kids, for example, so they can't fall, and you can unlock it, and you can walk and crouch, as I said. And the catwalk is a bit like the Omni. You can move up and down a bit, but the overall height is fixed. So, but it should work too for all kinds of tall and small people.
So if you had to pick one, I mean, I've seen the video, so I kind of know the outcome, but just for listeners in the audience here, between these three devices, if you had to pick one, which one would you personally go with?
If money is not a restriction, and room in my home, I would choose the virtualizer because, yeah, spoiler alert, in the video, it's also from a technical standpoint one of the easiest to use devices. So you can really walk and run and for a long time. And second comes the Omni. It is smaller. It doesn't have that 3 poles like the virtualizer, but it is very loud. So if you use the Omni and you have neighbors, I think they would complain very, very soon.
Oh wow!
So that's one thing. Otherwise, the Omni is totally fine for gaming, as long as you don't expect to run and crouch like Madman asked. Totally fine for gaming, and they have a huge library of games that works with the Omni. Yeah. And the Catwalk Mini. Well, I wouldn't recommend it right now in the form that I tested, and I hope that the Catwalk C is better, and maybe they improve the Catwalk Mini like they announced on the website. So then it would be a solid device too.
So I'm just curious with the. I never thought of like a noise factor. Now that you mentioned that, um, is the loudest one, which I think you said was the Omni, is that immersion breaking, or do you just kind of tune it out?
It depends what kind of headset you have. With the Valve Index, with the open speakers, you hear it definitely. But
Okay.
if you have a closed headset, over-ear speakers, over-ear headphones, then it's not such a problem. Yeah, it's loud for people around you, but not for you inside VR.
That's all that matters. I mean,
Yeah.
And PJ gets a divorce.
no.
You don't matter out here.
She gets a VR headset too, so.
Well, that's when we talked about your game Quest for Runia. I haven't got her to hop in there yet because my wife can't play VR. Well, she plays, but she watches like a TV show and she'll get nauseous sometimes. So
Yeah, he told me, yeah.
like playing a sitting game like I Expect You to Die, where you do nothing but sit and point, it's a fun game, but even that after a half hour she can't stay in there
Ah.
very long. So,
Yeah, so it's better if she doesn't use it then.
yeah.
Yeah. Just as because you mentioned it, we released Quest for Unia on the Pico Neo 3.
I saw
on
that.
Thursday.
Nice.
Yes, and yeah, it's a fun device too. So I hope to make a video about it too, but I don't know when.
Do you think that is a viable Quest 2 contender?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's basically a clone, but I don't want to sound it bad because Facebook uses the Qualcomm chip, the XR2, and they didn't design the XR2 chip themselves, so other companies can of course use the same chip, and
Sure.
they will build the same kind of device with the same abilities that the chip offers, of course. So yeah, it's it's a Quest computer, absolutely, Quest 2 competitor.
Nice.
Yes, they
Need more
have.
of those.
Yeah, they're
I
lacking
don't-
the big games library, of course, and some other features, but it's working really well, and yeah, I really like it.
I haven't heard if they've had plans to get out to the West because they're solely a Chinese company, correct?
Yes, unfortunately, they don't have any plans.
Yeah.
As far as I learned, they will release it in Japan and Korea, I think. But they will not release it in the West, in Europe or the States. That's-
Sure.
Yeah. But maybe in a year or two, who knows? But
Yeah.
right now, it doesn't look like that.
Still a step.
Yeah.
Oh. Zooming around.
I don't know. I still have that frozen picture.
Yeah.
I just got it too. It's fine. I can hear you.
Yeah. It's a podcast. That's all that matters. Yeah, but let's wrap up the treadmill topic. Do you have any questions? Diamond Paws, Madman? If anyone else joined, I do not see you right now. I'm sorry. But ask. Please.
I think they're cool devices. I'm just hoping they get to a price point that regular folks can, get one for Christmas from Santa Claus or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hope
I
so,
was super close. I was right on the edge of getting a Catwalk C, but I was like, I'm gonna wait a while, see what happens, and kind of glad I did. I'm glad that you having tested all these out, and you seem to still have hope that they're getting there. They're just not there yet, maybe, but that's still good to hear because, like all the reasons that we stated, like save room space and just being in VR and the immersion of it, I think it's our best bet as long as they figure out all the hurdles.
Yes, of course, the devices will improve over time, but they are a niche within a niche market,
Yeah.
and it will take, unfortunately, it will take a long time until we have a treadmill at home, like your other, what do you call it? Treadmills and bikes and
Yeah.
you know what I
Exercise
mean.
equipment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And I can
Okay.
hang my shirts on it and not use it.
Yes, use it as a wardrobe, like the other exercise devices too. I don't know if my hands move, but
No.
right here next to me at the wall, there's such an exercise device that trousers and a t-shirt, yeah. And a lot of dust.
Yeah. There were some games in development for like stationary bikes and all that, but I haven't seen anything or heard anything for a while. It's kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, I think it's still the problem. It's a niche in a niche, and
Yep.
it's so hard to get people into VR who are not into PC gaming or gaming at all, because they all think it's not for them, and yeah, it's a pity. But well, we will continue to tell people put on that headset, and they will continue to be, wow, I never expected it to be like that. I have
Yeah.
to tell everybody I know, and
Yep.
we will get there slowly
Yep.
but steadily. Yeah. Now I think I said that a few years ago. We are still in the punch card era of VR, and I fear we still did not leave that time. So comparing it to the development of home computers, so I think we are still yeah, the first Atari devices or whatever,
Yeah.
home computers.
I
Some
agree.
people have it, but there's some kind of curious odd device for nerds.
Yep. Thanks, man, for joining us again. It's always great to talk to you. You have a great analytical view on a lot of things.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, and great podcast. Yeah. I enjoy all your episodes.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for having me again, and I will log out now. I don't see you, so I wave goodbye to all of you, and have a good night.
Waving.
too, man.
Can't
Thanks
see
for joining
anything
us.
yet, but
Yeah. Bye.
waving.
See ya.